Hello, today I'm going to show you how to make sure that you're successful on tomorrow's test. I'm going to go over the study guide for weather factors, starting with number one, horse latitudes. Those are the calm areas that are located at the 30-degree north and south latitudes. You also have number two, which are the doldrums. Those are located right at the equator. Number three are the prevailing westerlies. Those global wind belts, they run from the 30-degree north and 30-degree south latitudes up to the 60-degree north and 60-degree south latitudes. The trade winds are winds that blow from the horse latitudes, from the calm areas down towards the equator or up towards the equator. And then the polar easterlies are the wind belts that begin at the poles, the north and the south poles, and blow to the 60-degree north and south latitudes. Number six says to give examples for heat transfer. Well, for radiation, that's something like feeling the warmth of the sun or the warmth from a campfire. Remember, those are direct transfer of heat through electromagnetic waves. Number seven is conduction. That would be an example like your feet touching the hot sand and burning, or touching your hand on a stove. Convection would be an example of like the water in a pot getting hot because it's on a hot stove, or a spoon becoming hot because it's in a bowl of soup. That's conduction. The example of the spoon in the pot is an example of conduction. Convection would be the water in the pot moving, getting heated up, rising and sinking, or like the air in your house that heats up through the vents, rises to the top floor, and then sinks as it gets cool. Number nine, those wispy, feathery clouds are cirrus clouds. And number 10, those big, white, fluffy, cotton ball looking clouds are cumulus clouds. Number 11, the clouds that form in flat sheets across the sky, covering much of the sky, are stratus clouds. Number 12 says, what causes wind? Well, we know that it's the unequal heating of Earth's surfaces that cause differences in air pressure, and that rising and sinking of the air is what causes that changes in pressure and creates wind. Number 13, what factors in general affect our weather? Well, we've talked about winds, water and the water cycle, and water in the Earth's atmosphere, and then the sun. Everything, ultimately, the energy comes from the sun. Number 14, local winds. Local winds are the light breeze blowing from a lake onto a land, and they blow over short distances. We talked about that, like the oceans. How they create those local winds right there on the beach. It's that unequal heating of the sand and the water, or the land and the water. Winds are described by their speed and directions. Number 15. And then number 16, cirrus clouds are the ones that resemble the feathers, and they form very high up in the troposphere. Number 17, the process of condensation is when water vapor turns into a liquid water. Number 18, what occurs when the sun's energy travels into the Earth's atmosphere? Well, we said that it's either scattered in all directions, it's reflected off of like vapors and clouds, or it's absorbed by the land and the water. Number 19, stratus clouds form in flat layers and cover most of the sky. Number 20, horse latitudes and doldrums are calm areas on our planet where either little to no wind is produced, and those are at 30 degrees north and south and at the equator. Number 21, the Coriolis effect causes the winds in the northern hemisphere to curve to the right. And then in the south of the southern hemisphere, they curve to the left. Number 22, forms of precipitation. That would be rain, freezing rain, snow, hail, or sleet. In this chart here on heat transfer, we've said that radiation is the direct transfer of heat through electromagnetic waves. And an example of that would be feeling the warmth of sun or fire. Number 26, conduction. That's the transfer of heat through two objects that are touching. And an example of that would be your feet on hot sand or your hand on a stove. Number 29, convection. That's the transfer of heat through a fluid, liquid, or gas. And examples of that would be the heat vents in your house or water on a stove in a pot. Number 32, which type of heat transfer is responsible for the heating of for most of the heating of the troposphere? That's convection, because that air is heated by the surface, it rises into the atmosphere, then it cools and it sinks, and that whole cycle is repeated again and again. Number 33, the Coriolis effect. And what causes it to occur? That's the curving of global wind belts due to Earth's rotation. Number 34, what causes wind? Well, it's the changes in air pressure due to the unequal heating of Earth's surfaces. And then again, the three factors that affect our weather: wind, water, and sun. In looking at the water cycle, evaporation from the trees is known right here as transpiration. Then that goes up into the clouds and it goes through condensation, which then once those clouds become full, it comes down to Earth's surface in the form of precipitation. And then it might run off. Surface runoff would be what is right here. Some of it may seep into the ground. That would be groundwater. And run into, either one of these can run into a body of water that's a collection. And then from that collection, that may be turned into water vapor through evaporation right here. And again, that would go through condensation in the clouds. If you study this study guide, you should do very well on the test. Make sure that you're prepared tomorrow. That's all. Good luck.